Well, hey everyone, it's Umbra here at the end of another week. What's there to say? GDQ has come to a close, which means that my attention is a little bit more free again. I enjoyed watching a bunch of streams for our Final Fantasy people here today. Go check out the FF4 run. It was really good. There were also like a ton of other great stuff. And by all means, if you watched anything and you enjoyed it, let me know. Leave a comment if you want, telling me what you enjoyed in SGDQ. And if you don't know what GDQ is, well, you have some homework, I guess. Anyway, coming at you with an update from the JP side. Basically, I just wanted to talk about this new unit, Alaya, Bridal Alaya, who is making a splash on JP, which, I mean, here's what I'm going to say. I have said, like, watching some units recently, they've all had, a lot of units have been decent to the point where it doesn't feel so much like there's anything that's triple S right now. Like there's a really super triple S comp. I mean, obviously, if you're part of a guild with some, it's just like a whales guild, you're probably in a better state than most other people. But what I wanted to say was just how much Alaya has really taken off in terms of how great she is on JP. And as you can see, mine is making progress. Still not finished. Will be a little while longer, but I did kind of put a bit of a rush on my Alaya because I am wanting, especially to try her next week in Arena in both Strike and Lightning compositions. Now, with that being said, of course, the wonderful Peachin has done some great testing videos, and I want to talk about them just for a second. He basically tested out a couple of things to do with pure Lightning compositions as well as Strike compositions with the new version of Alaya. And the big takeaway seems to be that pure Lightning with Lightning, Bridal Alaya, and Alphonse is an incredibly powerful composition that is capable of dealing with a lot of different comps. It depends a little bit on the map, depends on the turn order and whatnot about how survivable the team is. But so far, this team is looking to be really great. And you know what? I will confidently say that Thunder Physical is better than Thunder Magic, and by a good margin now. And to that extent, overall, I think that Alaya is, more importantly, just like such a changer for a lot of different teams. I think that she's the physical unit that Strike has been looking for a good long time. She's a really big enabler of removing re-raise, which is one of the biggest things that is keeping a lot of the top teams up. But as you can see, like just from the videos, with the CT down modifier on some of her abilities, the multi-targeting that is technically single target and not AoE, that can hit 3 targets in a turn, and the fact that her and Lightning have gotten massive boosts in accuracy means that they can deal with a wide variety of teams, from Dark with Sephiroth and Majin Vina and Wrath, who rely on re-raise and just strong power, whereas like light evasion based teams who are essentially looking to, or fire evasion based teams, just don't really have quite enough. I mean, it can of course always flip depending on status effects and whatnot, but overall it seems that both Lightning and Bridal Alaya's overall kits are enough to really push them to be very strong. And yeah, you might lose, but it seems like it's a fairly certain thing that, if we just pause right here and look at the composition of what is being run here, it's really powerful. And even with like some people who might have skipped Alphonse like myself, I think you can still get away with this team if you primarily focus still on boosting a lot more of Lightning, but you know, so far this comp I think can work with multiple different tanks, and Lightning and Bridal Alaya seem to be the key damage points that are strong enough that it's just good on its own. So that has been, at least from my viewings of different places. You check out also here highlighting just another form of accuracy, but even then Peachin did a lot of compositions against a lot of different against a lot of different compositions with both strike and this, and he tried it with like Edward and I can't remember who, I think it was Snow and Bridal Alaya, and that still feels a little soft. Maybe it needs Preen instead, but I can understand why Preen would not be chosen, because Lightning teams might become the new thing here, because Bridal Alaya feels very, very strong, very powerful, and that's super cool. Because, you know, essentially at the end of the day, the thing that I'm really excited about is that we have a really competitive strike unit who can really push strikes into having enough offense. And there's still a VC coming this week, which will be a job VC and will be focused around fist units. So yeah, I mean, even if you did miss some of the local or recent collaborations, obviously one of the biggest things would be the FMA speed card for fists. That would be, I would say, the most important VC to have gotten out of all of them, at least on terms of like pulling on a banner and whatnot. But yeah, Bridal Alaya is super awesome, super great, and yeah, I'm going to be doing, I think, some just videos of Arena and whatnot, because I've been slacking on those lately, so look forward to it. All right, and that's kind of it for Wotv on JP right now, at least from my perspective, because I've been spending more time doing other stuff this week, Zelda, basically. But we're also interested in Final Fantasy constantly. But I do want to share one other thing that's been happening, talk about it a little bit, and that's we're going to borrow Reddit for our sake. So thank you to Zenaf for posting this. For the last few days, a little while ago, you know, like the PlayStation Showcase came and went, and we only got a Final Fantasy 16 trailer, and that was it, really, on Final Fantasy. So that was a bit of a disappointment, and, you know, kind of understand that Square really does want Final Fantasy 16 to get a lot of attention and really wants to be their main focus for advertising, and I totally understand that. But there's something to be said about still like raising hype for Final Fantasy with other titles. And then just a few days ago on Friday, there was a posting on Twitter, strangely enough, from Yoshinoro Kitase, which is the head of the production team, and he's posted a picture that said, "Development is progressing smoothly, and according to plan, we are currently working on nailing down a release date for the game," which was cool. That was an interesting update, and that was a neat Friday. That was a neat bonus on a Friday. And it was just kind of like, oh, all right, well, that's a single post, right? And then yesterday, there was a second post, a second image, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, and this time it showed like a cloudy background, whereas the last time it showed the logo. And the message this time was from Naoki Hamaguchi, who said, "Players will be able to journey across the wide and multifaceted world with a high degree of freedom, experiencing a myriad of stories along the way." To the question about how the game would be outside of Midgar. And then all of a sudden, wait a minute, this is 2 days in a row. This is kind of weird, right? And then you get also today, which is this one, which actually shows more of a screenshot. And, you know, it went from logo to cloudy to screenshot of like from the trailer that we saw a while ago. Day 3, question: what are some of the key things to look forward in the FF7 Rebirth story? For those who don't know, Rebirth is part 2 of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Answer. Players will witness a chain of narrative developments that lie at the heart of Final Fantasy VII's story while discovering each character's destiny, which basically, to me, says that Rebirth is going to follow the story as we would expect through the major story plot points, probably of Disc 2 for Final Fantasy VII, probably add some extra stuff, but really we'll focus on like a story for each character and get us more into the clue of what their destinies will be, their new destinies. And that's all exciting. Like, I'm really super excited for this, but the timing of this is really curious because if you think about it, starting on Friday, if you count down 7 days, it's Summer Games Fest, the Jeff Keighley 2-hour-long video game replacement for E3. You'll be real disappointed if it's not what it seems to be, which seems to be that it is a countdown towards June 8th, which is, of course, the date also that Final Fantasy... it should be about the date that the Final Fantasy 16 trailer should be going live, which, of course, I will be playing that. I will be recording that. I will be uploading all of that because I'm super excited for that and everything. So yeah, like, thinking about this, I mean, the countdown basically ends at Summer Games Fest. And Square Enix, I think, is a little worried about maybe 16's pre-orders, so maybe raising some hype for Final Fantasy while also showing off a new trailer for Rebirth. And kind of makes sense that they want to start advertising for Rebirth if it's supposed to be out in winter, because the clock is ticking down. We're already June, and winter, you know, almost like 6 months kind of thing. And winter is a wide range, so it could be early next year still too, but really wondering about this. And the last thing I want to talk about is this. On the Twitter account for Yasumi Matsuno, talks about the possibility of a possible nerf to Orlando, which is a Final Fantasy Tactics character. And yeah, if we remaster it, what do you think about whether it's better to weaken the Thunder God Cid, who is accused of destroying the balance? What a weird question to be asking. Now, this also comes on the information that, based on Dissidia Opera Omnia, the Final Fantasy Tactics team is very busy with a project of some sense, and the NVIDIA leak basically stated that Tactics was getting something. Things could have changed since that original NVIDIA leak many years ago. But yeah. It feels like we're gearing up towards something. It feels like there's a lot of buzz on Twitter starting to be generated from a major Tactics member who would have had to get approval before asking this. And the fact that he's just asking, hey, if we remaster this, should we change the balance to the fans? Really feels like there's a remaster and something's still being decided about it, but it's probably, maybe fairly far along. So Summer Games Fest is this week. It's on Thursday for everybody, Friday for us here in Japan. And I mean, keep an eye on it because it seems like probably we'll get something Final Fantasy at it. There's never any guarantees in life, but I don't know, man. Countdown, 7 days. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time.